Hello, and welcome back to Air Bud. I am Patrick Turner. You are watching the Sandwich Industry Sandwich review of the 1998 film Air Bud, Golden Receiver, sequel to the critically acclaimed masterpiece and Citizen Kane of dog movies, Air Bud from 1997. Similarly, the video review you are currently watching on your favorite video viewing device is a sequel to the Sandwich Industry Sandwich review of Air Bud from 1997. If you have not yet watched the aforementioned video review, I suggest you do so at your earliest convenience. If you did not watch the aforementioned video review before watching this current video review, you are under no circumstances allowed to tell me you did that. So without further ado, pop some popcorn, sit back on a nice couch or even a love seat, and give your dog a bone. Because buddy, you're about to watch the quintessential video review of Air Bud, Golden Receiver. Well, it looks like it's once again time to talk about dog movies. And not a moment too soon. In my previous video review, you may recall that I made a lot of jokes about Air Bud's production and reception by the public. Before I recount the plot of the sequel film Air Bud Golden Receiver to you all in a similar fashion to my previous video review, I feel I would be doing you all a great disservice if I did not first delve into the production of this movie, as there are a lot of factors to it that would affect later films in the series and arguably the franchise as a whole. For those who don't know, the original Golden Retriever depicting Buddy in the movie Air Bud was an actual Golden Retriever who was actually that good at sports and whose actual real name was Buddy. This dog was better at sports than I am, and as we all know, I ball hard. Buddy was owned by a man named Kevin DeSico, and was discovered as an actor by way of videos of him playing sports, being featured on programs like America's Funniest Home Videos and David Letterman's Stupid Pet Tricks. In 1991, DeSico approached independent production company Keystone Entertainment to produce the movie Air Bud that we all know and love today. The rights for distribution were then acquired by Disney's Miramax, and the rest is history. Following the success of the first movie, which grossed a whopping $27.8 million US from box office sales and home video releases compared to its relatively small $3 million production budget, Keystone decided to move forward with their own plans for a sequel film, against the wishes of DeSico. To make matters worse, DeSico claims he never received his 10% cut of the net profits of the original Air Bud film as the rights holder, which led to a falling out between him and Keystone. Frustrated with the production of this new film, DeSico resolved to make his own sequel, Air Bud: The Next Generation, which he described as, quote, a cross between Ferris Bueller and Home Alone. If you don't think that sounds incredible, I can't help you, buddy. This film was originally intended to start production in fall of 1999, however, due to multiple factors, it never came to be. And that is unfortunately all we know about this proposed sequel. I'd also just like to say for a minute that this movie would likely have split the Air Bud timeline, and would probably also have ended cinema altogether by virtue of how good it would have been. I'm only slightly exaggerating when I say I nearly exploded upon reading the words Air Bud: The Next Generation and a cross between Ferris Bueller and Home Alone on my laptop screen. It is also worth mentioning that DeSico bred 3 puppies from Buddy and also trained them for sports, signing them to an endorsement deal with Milk-Bone dog biscuits. As of 2013, DeSico was touring across the country with Buddy's offspring, performing tricks for adoring audiences. He even wrote a biography about Buddy titled Go Buddy: The Air Bud Story. So it's safe to say that his story at least has a happy ending by most metrics. Unfortunately for our old friend Buddy, his story did not have as happy an ending. Due to a rare form of cancer, Buddy tragically passed away months before the release of Golden Receiver and did not appear in the film in any capacity except for a small dedication at the end of the film's credits. In regards to DeSico's complaints of not receiving proper payment for the first film, producer Robert Vince had this to say. Kevin tends to shoot off his mouth, so I have no idea really what he's talking about. I personally like Kevin, and personally feel sad that his dog passed away. But he's not a businessman. He trained the dog, so I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't understand these practical things. Which also sounds like every conversation I've had with every business major I've ever known. After the success of Air Bud, Keystone knew they had a hit on their hands and wasted no time crafting a sequel film, so that they could get it out to theater audiences the following year. Now when I say the following year, I mean this movie was written, edited, and produced all in the span of a little over a year. The original Air Bud was released on August 1st, 1997, and Air Bud Golden Receiver was released on August 14th, 1998. Unlike the previous film, however, Golden Receiver flopped at the box office, only receiving $10 million compared to its $11 million production budget. Following this failure, subsequent films of the Air Bud series, including the Air Buddies spin-off series, which we will be reviewing before I die, were all released in a direct-to-video format instead of on the big screen. Another point of difference from the first movie is that the plot focused on a sport other than basketball, that being good old-fashioned American football, thus establishing the original quintology of films tradition of switching sports between each new release. For this film, the role of Buddy was depicted by 4 different golden retrievers, their names being Rush, Chase, Zach, and Chance, which coincidentally will also be the names of my own children. So be ready for that one, Mom. Whereas the original Air Bud received moderately mixed reviews with a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes and an average rating of 5.2 out of 10, Golden Receiver got actively negative reviews of 21% and an average rating of 4.3 out of 10. Enough numbers and history though. Let's dive right into the waters of this movie's plot and hope that it isn't too shallow. Our original leading stars, Josh Fram and Buddy the dog, have aged exactly 1 year since the events of the previous film. Now a teenager and experiencing the turbulent times of 8th grade, Josh has matured a lot and is a lot more confident in himself since the events of the previous film. The movie opens with Josh and Buddy shooting some hoops, when Josh's watch alarm goes off indicating that it's time for them to go. The two race back home and Buddy barks at Josh's mom indicating that he won the basketball game they were playing earlier, canonically proving that Buddy at least understands human speech on a semi-conversational basis. Buddy is told that he can't go with the family to wherever it is they're going, to which he holds his leash and makes a comically sad dog face. Not one to be discouraged, however, Buddy jumps out of Josh's open window, walks along the roof of the house, and jumps into the family car through the open sunroof. There's a level of recklessness here from everybody. I mean, Josh left his window open, Josh's mom left the sunroof open, Buddy walked along the roof. I mean, the 90s had no rules, man. As the family gets into the car and leaves, they keep saying things like, well, it's really too bad Buddy couldn't have come with us, and sorry Buddy couldn't come with us, champ. All of this to remind the audience that Buddy is in fact not supposed to be hiding in the backseat of their car right now. It is then revealed to the audience that Josh and his family were going to a basketball game, because Josh lives, eats, and breathes basketball. And as we all know, ball is life. Still in the car, Buddy decides to enact his master plan of opening the sunroof of the car and sneaking into the basketball game in a Metal Gear-esque exercise of stealth. Josh decides to heckle the professional basketball players by saying, "My dog could shoot better than you can." To which a random man from the crowd says, "You mean like that dog over there?" The camera then does a 360 spin on Josh's face and he says, "Oh no! That's my dog!" Buddy comes in here and is dunking all over these presumed professionals of their sport, proving to us mere mortals once again that he is the god of balls. I probably should have rewrote that. After Buddy causes a requisite amount of chaos, one of the players comes up to him and calmly picks him up, saying to Josh, "Dog's got a mean jump shot."
Dog got a mean jump shot.
In the next scene at Josh's middle school, we are reintroduced to Josh's friend Tom from the previous movie. Only this time, Tom is a misogynist.
Hey, You know what the best thing about the 8th grade is?
What's that?
Girls have turned into women. Hi, Tammy.
Because Tom is really leaning into the whole women want me, fish fear me routine, he decides to go out for the football team because he believes it will get girls to like him. Buddy, if you want girls to like you, maybe you should try treating them like human beings first. Or go out for the robotics team like I did. Josh and Tom take Buddy to the vet for a regular checkup, where we are introduced to the next principal character of this film's narrative, Dr. Patrick Sullivan. But we'll get into him later. Next, we are introduced to quite possibly the worst fake Russians ever put to cinema.
How many times do I have to tell you? Never interrupt me when I am throttling a performer.
Sorry, Natalia.
And this place stinks like fishes.
It's all I could find on our budget. But look, I brought you the amazing Mortimer.
This is Natalia and Popov, and they run an animal circus. But the catch is, all the animals are stolen. They have all the classic circus animals too. They have a bear, a talking parrot, a chimpanzee, a skunk, I guess. I'm not sure what tricks they were trying to teach these guys either, cause they're all just like sitting there, and neither Natalia nor Popov seem very skilled with animal handling or training of animals. It probably would have just been easier to say, hey, these guys are poachers and they're the bad guys, but they didn't do that, so we have Russian animal circus. Okay. Mortimer the chimp deserves his own movie. After seeing Buddy on the TV dunking all over professional basketball players from the scene we saw earlier in the movie, Natalia and Popov decide to dognap Bucky. Who's Bucky? Who is Bucky? Dognap Buddy and make him the star attraction in their animal circus. A quick side tangent. I just want to know how they ever hope to get away with this plan. But, I mean, Buddy is clearly owned by somebody, right? And they know this before they even attempt to dognap him. So, they are also planning on making him a star performer. So it stands to reason that eventually the police would come by and say, hey, that's not your dog. And I assume Natalia and Popov's plan is just to be like, no? Jail. Instant jail. The next scene reveals to us that Josh's mom is dating again, and she is seeking Josh's approval to do so. You see, if you remember from the previous movie, Josh's dad died in a tragic Air Force test flight gone wrong. After telling his mom that he doesn't mind her dating again, Josh proceeds to make a comically large sandwich, which Buddy then eats, and in a Scooby-Doo-esque fashion, lets out a distinctly human burp, moving this movie's dog burp counter up to 1. A short montage of Josh disapproving of his mother's new potential suitors ensues, followed by Josh's mom talking to Buddy on a walk about whether or not it's even too soon for her to be dating in the first place. Buddy then responds to her heartfelt emotions by physically dragging her down a boat dock, the momentum of which throws her upon Dr. Patrick Sullivan, the vet from earlier. That's right, ladies. He's not just good with animals, he's a boat guy too. Thus, the primary emotional conflict of the film is set up. Josh misses his father and doesn't know how to reconcile the emotions he feels of his mother dating a new man. This is punctuated by Tom once again giving his 2 cents on love to Josh by saying this legendary line.
You know what happens after 4 dates, don't you?
What's that?
Speed dial. Speed dial? If his number's been programmed in your speed dial, you might as well shop in for a tuxedo.
Oh, also, Natalia and Popov are unsuccessfully trying to dognap Buddy, or something, in the background of multiple scenes, but, yeah. Josh, not wanting to think about the complex emotions he feels of his mom dating Patrick, decides to go out and join the football team with Tom. After successfully emotionally manipulating his friend into joining the football team with him, Tom has this to say.
Touchdown.
Thanks, Tom! Another quick side tangent for you. This is actually the second movie I saw as a child where the main love interest is named Patrick. The other one being Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed from 2004 featuring Patrick Wisely. I just think it's interesting. There's so many good-looking dudes named Patrick. I mean, I'm just saying. Josh and Tom go out for the football team, and much like the Timberwolves basketball game from the previous film, they suck hard. The football coach is played by Danny DeVito voice double and constant sandwich eater, Robert Costanzo. If you are of legal drinking age and want to die, I suggest playing a drinking game where you take a drink every time you see the coach eating a sandwich. Spoiler alert. You will not be conscious halfway through this movie. Josh, not trusting Patrick, decides to take Buddy to the vet and distract him, saying he needs an x-ray for his tail. Josh then searches Patrick's stuff and finds pictures of him with other women. Patrick then comes back from taking Buddy's x-rays in about less than a minute, 55 seconds to be exact. Yes, I counted. I also don't know how they're paying for this. Like, is Patrick doing this as a favor? Are they just like saying, hey, yeah, take this x-ray and put it on my tab? I mean, vet visits are expensive, right? Like, this would have cost at least a couple $100 probably, just to find out that Patrick may or may not be the greatest of dudes. Anyways, Josh then plays football with Buddy, discovering that his godlike basketball skill extends to football as well. In the next scene, Josh overhears the principal talking to the football coach, basically saying, "You haven't won a game in 10 years, coach. If you don't start winning, we're going to have to shut the program down." I would like to see just one school that has ever shut down any of their primary sports programs for not winning enough. Historically, those are programs that bring in a lot of money for schools everywhere, so I would just hate to see what the band program at this school looks like, is all I'm saying.
That means you haven't known the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of
middle school
football.
You forgot something.
Oh, thanks, Goose.
You're welcome.
Josh and the rest of the football team are losing real bad in their first official game, and it doesn't help that their football coach, instead of coaching, just keeps consuming his infinite sandwiches, which is where I assume the majority of the $11 million budget for this movie went. The Timberwolves are down and losing bad, and Buddy is watching from the stands and looks prepared to jump in and help him out. But not before he eats somebody's hot dog and lets out another dog burp, bringing up this movie's dog burp counter to 2. Josh is about to throw the ball to Tom, but then, like a streak of lightning from the sidelines, comes Air Bud demonstrating his godlike football skill, and he catches the ball and avoids all the opposing players and scores an epic touchdown. My favorite part of this scene is at least like 5 different middle school boys trying to unsuccessfully tackle a golden retriever, to which their coach slams his hat down in frustration, saying, "Oh no, my players are losing against a dog. I thought I prepared them for this." Aw, man. The referees seem to count the touchdown that Buddy scored too. They're just like, "Yep, no need to check the rule book. That was a clean touchdown. Good touchdown from the dog there. That 7 for the Timberwolves." Anyways, at the next practice, Josh brings Buddy, and he's wearing pads and everything. And the football team says, "A dog can't play football." Even though we literally saw him crush it in football not even 5 minutes earlier in the movie. And if you recall from the previous movie, we've seen Buddy crush it in basketball and get the Timberwolves basketball team 2 state championships. So the precedent for this dog crushing it in sports is not only there, but the entire town has witnessed it. The entire football team has witnessed it. I don't know why they're acting like this dog cannot play football or basketball or any sports. We've seen him do it. I can't with this movie. We then get another training montage of the football team, this time with Buddy catching straight money shots of footballs.
I'll tell you one thing, boys. That ain't no golden retriever. That there's a golden receiver.
Hey, he said the name of the movie. In the next game, we get to see Buddy play in an official capacity for the first time, and it's made very clear to us that the opposing team was not alerted that they would be playing against a dog, which is really cool, Buddy once again crushes some middle schoolers in sports and even tackles a kid, and it is hands down the funniest scene in any movie ever. Upset that his kids are getting destroyed by a literal dog, the opposing team's coach says, "Alright, whatever, dogpile him." Which I'm pretty sure is not an actual thing that you can actually do in, like, normal football. But I guess you're not also supposed to have dogs playing in actual football either. So, it's middle school football. Nobody cares. There's no rules. Understandably, Josh and the rest of his team is horrified at seeing over a dozen middle schoolers pile on top of this poor dog. So they run up and they're pulling him off. And then everybody realizes that, Buddy was in the end zone the entire time. Somehow neither team noticed that Buddy wasn't dogpiled, perhaps implying that Buddy can move faster than the speed of light to avoid detection, thus adding yet another impressive bullet to his growing list of abilities. Everyone here just sucks except for Buddy. Josh decides to confront Patrick about the pictures he found in his office of him with other women, to which Patrick then reveals that it's just pictures of him with his sisters. He says that they need to learn to trust each other and reveals that he knew Buddy's tail was never broken in the first place.
Broken tail.
Things are also getting more serious between Josh's mom and Patrick, as he now has to decide between a potential job opportunity in San Diego or staying in Fernfield with her. Patrick chooses to go all in on Josh's mom and decides to propose to her after less than 6 months of dating on a random afternoon in her kitchen, and doesn't even get down on one knee to do it. Josh witnesses this absolute monstrosity of a proposal and is rightfully upset, locking himself in his room and later running away from home. He tells Buddy that he can't come with him, and in his distraught emotional state, Buddy is then easily captured by Natalia and Popov. Josh is found at the train station by his football coach, who is, say it with me now, eating a sandwich. Coach sits down with Josh and has a heart-to-heart with him, telling him that Josh's love of both basketball and football is similar to Josh's mom's love of both Patrick and Josh's dad. The analogy works, and the two leave the train station together.
Don't mind if we stop for a slice of pizza.
Just how bottomless is this man's stomach? After returning home, Josh and his mom share a heartfelt reunion, before realizing that Buddy is missing, and they go searching for him. Also, realizing that his proposal sucked, Patrick decides to take the job in San Diego and will be leaving on his boat the next day. Uh-oh, Buddy. Josh and his mom are forced to give up on the search for Buddy in the meantime, as they have to go to the state championship game for football. Without their star player, the Timberwolves are once again down bad. Meanwhile, Buddy is freed from captivity by Mortimer the chimp from earlier, and together, the two free the other animals from their cages and wreak havoc on the Russian animal circus. Which is not a sentence I ever thought I would say. We cut back to the championship game where a middle schooler stares menacingly at Josh and says, "Prepare to eat dirt." Coincidentally, I also used to say "prepare to eat dirt" at robotics competitions. Mortimer the chimp then fights off Natalia and Popov and drowns them in a pile of fish guts, allowing Buddy to get away to the docks where he is found by Patrick and taken to the football game.
We demand you take us to the Russian embassy.
It's embassy! Imbecile!
The Timberwolves are down by a lot, and just as it looks like all hope is lost, Airbud rushes onto the field and crushes some kids in football. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to just have players rush out onto the field during the middle of a play in any sport, but honestly, who cares at this point? They've broken so many rules, it doesn't matter. Who cares? After helping the team regain their lost score and confidence, Buddy is then tackled by a 144-pound teenager and is injured for the rest of the game. This leaves it all up to Josh and Tom to score the winning goal with their honest teamwork and skill, winning not only the game, but the job security of their coach as well. After successfully winning the game, everyone starts celebrating. Josh and Buddy hug. I'm pretty sure the football coach gives his number to the principal, and Tammy tells Tom that he's got potential. I've got arthritis. I don't know what we're doing here. The final scene shows Josh running up to Patrick's boat as he is preparing to leave for San Diego to accept his job opportunity. Josh tells Patrick to stay, thus allowing his family to move forward from the death of his father, bringing an end to a classic wholesome film for the whole family. While not as impressive with its cinematography, storytelling, acting, music, writing, editing, or anything really compared to its predecessor, Air Bud Golden Receiver was made to do one thing and one thing only: to keep the series going. No matter the cost, Keystone wanted to keep audiences' attentions tuned to the amazing sports-playing dog they had, and they were willing to risk a lot of money to do this. With this movie, that risk did not pay off, and it taught the studio a tough lesson that Air Bud just couldn't succeed as a big box office franchise. That being said, Air Bud Golden Receiver still paved the way for the rest of the Air Bud quintology of films, as well as the spin-off series, allowing the studio to produce a total of 13 movies between 1997 and 2013. So whether you love it or hate it, Air Bud really developed as a series with this film, and it directly led to the production of a lot of movies that many of us loved to watch growing up. It still killed Air Bud The Next Generation though, so I'll never forgive it for that.